All right, so we are getting into the final stretch of things. Welcome, Jalil. Oh, we have a sneak. They ruined my surprise. They ruined my surprise. Hey, Jalil, how are you?
Hi, Omar. How are you? Can you hear me well?
Good. I'm very excited for this last section. Yes, I hear you really well.
Good.
I'm excited for two reasons about this last section. One is because we're bringing in some of the trailblazers of innovation. Both Altibbi and Udewi have done a lot of work, and as Lena just mentioned, like the presence of Altibbi just gives us a lot to reflect back to some of these global investors when we're talking on behalf of all of the ecosystem. So it's really good to have an entrepreneur, someone who we've been talking about, and you are the actual person that's making it happen, but also. The fact that we're going to talk about doctors and how to engage healthcare providers, which is a very exciting topic for both of us. We have it kind of in common. So thanks for being here. And thanks for giving us both a doctor,
Thank
an
you.
engineer,
Thank you.
and an entrepreneur.
So I'm not a doctor. I'm in the medical field, but I'm
You're not.
actually an engineer. But I'm
Oh, you are an engineer. I've always thought
it's
that
still
you
a
were Dr.
prof.
Jalil.
Well,
We're living in a world where there's so much intersection of this industry, and it's really hard to know what people's backgrounds are. No one believes that
that's
I'm
the
a
funny
doctor, so
part.
it's fair. You look more like a doctor than me.
I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah.
So, Jalil, let's start by talking a little bit about healthcare providers, especially because you guys are working on so many levels now. You're creating so many partnerships between Altibbi and different governments and different regions. You are accessing a lot of patients, but I'm curious to know how are healthcare providers leveraging that technology now, and kind of what are the trends that you're seeing in terms of how healthcare providers use Altibbi?
Yeah, it's again, it's a very difficult topic to talk about because HCPs in general are normally known to be anti-technology, and it's normally difficult to engage with. Yet, we have been engaging with doctors almost since the inception of Altibbi, which was almost 10 years ago now. We started Altibbi as a content platform, so we initially started writing our own content, but soon enough we started allowing patients to ask questions for free, and we started also asking doctors to come in and participate in answering these questions and writing articles, etc., to enhance the patient's experience. So as Altibbi, we are always geared towards providing the best access to care and information to patients. So we were asking doctors to come in and participate in that. And of course, it wasn't an easy proposition. We're talking about 2012. Technology was barely coming into the region, and you're telling doctors who are known to be anti-tech to hey, come in, participate for free, come into their stack. Um, and yet we managed to think about what would doctors want to come in for free instead of paying them money or paying them the trips and the gifts, etc. So we had to really build a platform in the back end that would encourage them to be on the platform and participate in content and gamify that experience. Doctors by
Yeah.
nature are just competitive people. Again, I'm an engineer, so I'm allowed to say that. You guys, as being being a doctor, are very competitive. They're normally the first in class at school, the first in class in university. They're always they are always the best. So we try to create that kind of environment in Altibbi, whereby the more you participate, the more points you get, the more badges you get, and you're called the expert doctor, then you're the best doctor, etc. As long as you're active and helping patients, providing that content and answering questions, etc. That was really good, actually. It was a very good experience engaging with doctors, understanding those inner motives and working around them. And today on Altibbi, we have about 18,000 doctors who are registered, verified, and are active with content on Altibbi, which was great. But then we took it up a notch. We launched our telehealth offering, and there we needed to get GPs on board, and we needed to really control the experience so much. So that was a new learning curve for us, and getting GPs uh, and working with them, providing the best experience that is super controlled at a very fixed price, etc. So it was a new learning experience that brought us to what today is Altibbi Academy, basically, and a system of courses, of medical courses that have been accredited by the Royal College of General Practitioners in the UK to accredit doctors as they get into the telehealth experience. So again, our engagement with doctors have been multifaceted, different levels with specialists and GPs and different kinds of engagement. So it's still a learning curve where we're learning as we go, but we're loving it.
You will never figure us out. You'll never figure us out completely. And doctors, I appreciate what you said about the but about being like competitive in nature. A lot of people think that doctors are looking for the best technology out there, or the most interesting technology out there. But really, I think doctors are always looking for mastery, as you mentioned. So mastery and time, and if you can give them more mastery, like you said, or give them more time, they will love you, provided you don't mess with their workflow. So I want to shift a little bit and ask you another question about how. So one of my experiences as a physician was getting burnt out, even as a med student, and then I learned now like the whole world is talking about physician burnout, and technology is a big part of it. Like when we even look at electronic healthcare records, there's direct correlation. Like the studies show it, and it's very very obvious that the more doctors use technology, actually, the more we sometimes get burnt
Run.
out or sometimes lose steam. Yeah. So how does a company or even even a pharmaceutical, reaching out to these doctors, how do you balance that?
It's actually a real problem and a real issue, and we noticed that starting with our GPs. We're our utilization rate for GPs on our telehealth platform is close to 90%, which means basically that a GP got on the app, puts that he or she is online, and they start getting calls one after another. And for the time they're online, 90% of their time is actually being used in consultations, which is pretty, I mean, pretty frustrating, if you think about it. So the way we wanted to think to make it easy, we at the beginning we were asking doctors to get on the consultation, do the consultation, and the consultation, and fill the SOP of the patient. Fill the symptoms, the diagnosis, the treatment plan, and they had to write all of that. And then immediately and in the meantime, they're getting notifications that there's another consultation. They got on the consultation, and then they have to fill that, and it was really frustrating. And we were getting a lot of feedback from our doctors that was really burning them out. Uh, the way we opted to deal with it was actually to add even more technology. So basically, we started using all the data that we had, all the AI know-how that we had to really help doctors make the best decisions possible, not forgetting anything, not compromising quality because of the stress of getting on calls, etc. uh, and at the same time being as efficient as possible. So now instead of writing or typing, the AI is suggesting the symptoms. The doctor is just validating
Uh-huh.
and validating the diagnosis, validating the treatment plan. So the doctor is still the ultimate source of truth, but AI is trying to help to make that experience less frustrating for the doctor, yet not compromising on quality, which is it's a very fine line. You don't want them to be just clicking anything and just to get through to the other call. uh, you want to maintain that quality. So AI is really being helpful. And actually, we're now working on a research paper with Harvard Medical School about the use of AI and ultimately providing better health outcome to our patients, and that's through providing better help to doctors and providing that better outcome to the patients.
That's an awesome use of AI. Very empathetic use too, and I want to stop here for a second, and I totally imagine this doctor being bombarded. Like I was just sitting with a friend of mine, and the WhatsApp and phone just doesn't stop ringing, and it's almost like we can't have a full dinner.